Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. This is Charlotte from J Rock as well. Come on in. We are going to tackle your questions on inflammation. Whatever questions you have concerning inflammation as it relates to your body, your environment, um, I'm here to answer your questions. So come on in. And again, my name is Charlotte from J Rock as well. And we are going to sort of like do a recap from this week. The focus was inflammation, and inflammation is just one area concerning cancer conquerors, for those that you know that have dealt with cancer or any cancer diagnosis. So come on in, and I am here to answer your questions. This is going to be fun. But it's also going to be informational because I know that sometimes people don't always understand, they don't always recognize when they have inflammation even in their body. So this is going to hopefully just an opportunity to answer some of your questions as to, do I have inflammation in my body? How do I know if I have inflammation in my body? We're going to go over some of that as well. So as you come in, say hello. Feel free to share the broadcast, the live, so that we can get as many people on as possible. But yeah, it's an important subject. It's much more crucial now, more than ever, because people are home, because people are, concerned about their health. They're concerned about what to do moving forward. And so I think inflammation is a big component of your health in terms of, how do I even know if I have inflammation? How do you know? One of the ways that you can tell your body is most likely inflamed is how your body feels in terms of your joints, in terms of sometimes even your muscles can be affected by inflammation. Are you sleeping good at night? Are you not sleeping through the night? These are also indicators of inflammation in your body. So I just wanted to come on and do like a live Q&A so that those that have questions about inflammation I can hopefully bring some light and answer those questions even now. Hello, Lisa Jones is watching. Hello, my sister. Good to see you. Hello, Charlene Tierney. So good to have you on. I am waving. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to talk everything inflammation. So let's just dive right in. I'm so glad you guys are watching. So yeah, one of the things that I talk to about Cancer Conquerors is, in order for us, hey Lisa, how are you? Yeah, one of the things I talk to them about is in my business, I actually am passionate about it because I have been there. I mean, as a cancer conqueror, having come through diagnosis, having come through, treatment, having had to endure some things in my body that I have to tackle not only on a daily basis, but it has to be at the forefront of everything that I do. And I'm not like, so concerned that, because of reoccurrence, but that is a major concern for some people. And so I'm confident because of the way that I live my life now, the ways that I can stay on top of inflammation, the ways that I know kills, eliminates, and even reduces inflammation. I know that this is clearly going to help me long term. I'm 8 years Cancer Conquer out. Woohoo! This year, okay? And so, what questions do you guys have concerning inflammation? One of the things that I shared this week was I had done some juicing, and it was just a spur of the moment. I said, you know what? Let me juice this. Sometimes you have fruits or veggies that you feel like are going bad. Throw them in and juice them. I'm telling you, they still have some nutrients left in them. So I made just a juice with some fresh watermelon, pineapple, and ginger. Who doesn't love ginger? I love ginger. All three of these are not only hydrating, but they're critical to killing inflammation in your body. And so one of the things that I just threw it together, posted it in the video, it's so refreshing. And here we are in the summer months, and we're just, I don't know where you are, but I'm in the southeast, and yes, it's hot. However, you have to find ways to kind of rehydrate your body. Staying on top of your hydration level is key in order to really stay on top of inflammation as well. Because when you are dehydrated, this can also lead to inflammation. So, you guys, tell me, what questions do you have? And as you're thinking of your questions, like yesterday, I posed a question in terms of what were the causes of inflammation. And so one of the things that I posted in the post was it red meat? Did that cause inflammation? Was it secondhand smoke? Could it possibly be, any number of factors? Could it be relationships? It could be stress? The people that guessed all of the above, they were absolutely correct, because sometimes we don't think about the things that cause inflammation. So the question from Lisa is, what foods have the most inflammation? So I'm not understanding if you want to know what foods actually help to fight inflammation, or what foods contribute to inflammation, because those are two separate questions. So yeah, let me know, Lisa, if you want to know what foods cause more inflammation, or what foods actually help to fight inflammation. But yeah, so the question that I posed was to try and get people thinking, because sometimes we don't think about environmental factors that may cause inflammation. So Lisa's asking, what foods actually help to contribute to inflammation, which is an excellent question. Some of the foods that we don't sometimes think about that we're putting in our diet, it could be trans fats, which are your vegetable oils, anything, your corn oils, your sunflower oils, all of those type of, you have to think of it in terms of how is this affecting the cellular level. Because when you talk about inflammation generally affects the cellular level. So the foods that contribute, it could be, hey Jerry Parker just came on. Thanks for watching. Feel free to share. So yeah, to answer your question, Lisa, it could be refined sugars. Refined sugars are like things that it could be white sugar, it could be brown sugar, but it's also the sugar that's inside of foods, inside of products. Hey Jerry, so glad you could join us. Yeah, so you have to be mindful of your refined sugars. Refined sugars can also be found in something as simple as like condiments. I mean, your ketchup, all of these processed foods, they actually have refined sugar in them. Casein. Casein is something that, love you too, Jerry. Casein is something that is found in a lot of like dairy products, especially like your coffee creamers. And it's something that helps to bind together, things in food. So casein, you may not always see it, but this is why I encourage people to always read the ingredients. Please read the ingredients, because that's the only way you're going to know what you're putting in your body. Gluten. Gluten is a big one, because the conversation surrounding if gluten is healthy for us or if it is not healthy. Think about it in terms of what our bodies can actually break down and pass through. Most likely, things that are processed are not things that our body can break down and pass through. Gluten is one of them. Now, it does not necessarily mean that you have a gluten sensitivity, but to be honest, our bodies are not designed to break gluten down. And what is gluten? Gluten is like it was what makes bread, like make it spongy. That's the gluten that helps to bind it, helps to give it that, poof, not the yeast. But so gluten is another one. I avoid gluten because our bodies can't break it down. And if our bodies can't break it down, it does not know what to do with it. So now it's storing it, trying to figure out a way to eliminate it. So gluten is another big inflammation killer. And these are things I'm talking about that contribute to inflammation. And we're talking specifically about food. Refined grains. A lot of people think wheat is beneficial for your body. Now I will say that, hi Chancy, how are you? Good that you can join us. Yeah, a lot of people think that wheat is a better alternative to white bread. Well, I'm here to bust your bubble because if it's sprouted wheat, you have to think about in terms of how are they processing the wheat. Sprouted wheat is a wheat that's actually germinated and it sprouts on its own. The wheat that you see on the shelf in the grocery store is not really wheat because it's so over processed that there is no way that there can be, I mean, you may get like maybe 1% of wheat that's actually in it, and that wheat, so our body doesn't know how to break that down. And that's important to remember about inflammation because the things that our bodies can't break down, it can't pass it through. So Jerry's asking, how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference between what? How do you know if your body's able to break it down, or how do you know the difference between wheat? So make that question clear to me. So yeah, when we talk about refined grains, alcohol can cause inflammation. I know some people don't think that it's a big deal, but I mean, some people drink. I mean, to each his own. But just know that these are the things that your body will break down. So Jerry's asking, how do you know the difference in the bread? So the way that you know the difference is that it will actually say, and here's the thing, try and find private companies that actually make these products. So if you're looking for a sprouted wheat product, I would look outside of your grocery store. Find like a health food store, find like a store that actually specializes in sprouted wheat bread. This is how you're going to get what you need. White, white over wheat, they're both in terms of inflammation. This is what Jerry's asking. White over wheat, I don't recommend either one of them because our body doesn't know how to break down either one. What's in white bread is really under the refined grains because it's so overprocessed. Our body has no idea how to break that down. And if our body doesn't know how to break it down, it's now storing it somewhere. This in what happens is it starts to produce toxins inside of the body. If it's producing toxins, it's producing inflammation. So I hope that helps you. Another thing is the additives in food. Jerry says that's what I was getting at. Okay, which one? Yeah, so white over wheat, I would say neither. If you need to eat bread, and I can tell you some that because I don't eat a lot of bread, I do have it maybe twice a week, but it's from companies that I know are reputable, and companies that I know the quality of the product, but neither include gluten, wheat, or white. I usually go after like the ancient grains. And I'm gonna say, some people can do. There's a bread called Essence or Ezekiel bread that is sold in the grocery stores, but you have to read the ingredients again because Ezekiel bread, yes, it has a lot of the ancient grains in it. However, they use some things that I particularly in my body can't. My body won't break it down, and all of us are different. So it does depend on your own individuality because all of us are different. However, I know for a fact that white bread and wheat bread, unless it is sprouted wheat, your body can't break it down. So then people are asking the question, well, what can I get? And that's why I send them to, there are sources out there that this is all they do. They produce products, and this is all they focus on, that are much better for the body. They're more, I don't even like the term natural, because anything can be considered natural nowadays. It is probably most likely organic, or it has the ancient grains in it. And I know bread is a big one, but you have to be careful, because bread turns into sugar. Sugar causes inflammation. Refined sugars cause inflammation. And so we're talking about inflammation. So your pastas, your semolina, your wheat pastas, these things eventually turn into sugar within our body. Sugar creates inflammation in the body. Inflammation unchecked. And so these are not the inflammation sometimes that you will actually notice right away. They're called silent killers for a reason, because they sneak up, and now all of a sudden you're feeling it in your body. Either your joints start bothering you or something. So these are the things that cause inflammation. So Lisa's asking, of the meat products, which would be the best one to eat? So we definitely know from the poll yesterday that I gave, that red meat causes inflammation. But let's make a distinction, because when we talk about red meat in terms of causing inflammation, it's most likely red meat that is in most grocery stores. If it is grass-fed, organic grass-fed, you probably are okay. I don't eat meat particularly, but I know people that do. So I always steer them, and I have clients that do. So I try and steer them towards grass-fed. Just make sure that if it's beef, if it's red meat, that it is grass-fed. Because if it is not grass-fed, it generally has way too many antibiotics in it, which people don't realize, or it has too many hormones in it. Those things are now being consumed in our body. So whatever the cow or lamb or whatever it is that you eat that's red meat, whatever they eat, you're taking that in too. And here's the sad fact in our country, is that the majority of antibiotics that are being produced in this country are going to livestock, because they're not utilizing these animals the way that they were intended. So if you want to do red meat, I say stick to grass-fed. That's what cows and animals like that are supposed to eat. Cows specifically, cows are meant to eat grass. They're not meant to eat corn and grain. It just doesn't work. Hi, Audrey. So good to see you, and congratulations on your wedding coming up. He's engaged, y'all. So glad you can join us. So yeah, so you have to remember that if you're doing meat, especially red meat, you have got to make sure that it is grass-fed. The amount of pesticides, herbicides, fungicides that they use, not only on the area where the cows are at, but also what they're putting into the red meat. Another thing, so you asked about meat. Did that answer? Hey, Audrey, yeah, I miss you all y'all. But yeah, you have to be careful of definitely red meat. And I hope that answered your question, Lisa, when you talked about meat products. One thing that I will say in order to stay away from in terms of, so here's the thing, guys. When you talk about meat, I'm not a meat eater. I don't eat meat. However, if you do eat meat, make sure it is organic, even chicken. I mean, I know chicken is a big thing. Please make sure that it is organic. And like I said, the same thing applies to the beef. If you're not eating organic or grass-fed beef, then you are really putting all of the antibiotics, all of the hormones that they put inside these animals. You're now ingesting them, and our bodies were not built for continual consumption of antibiotics. It's like when you get an antibiotic, that in this country has been, it's too overused. So I hope you understand that. So organic meats, yes, Lisa. When I talk about organic meat, so you're going to get your organic chicken, your organic turkey, And I will say one thing, because we're in the summer months, you have to be careful of lunch meat. Lunch meats, and we're talking about inflammation, you guys. We're busting the myths about inflammation and trying to get to the root, because I want you guys to be healthy moving forward. When we talk about lunch meats contain what we call, so when you think about your turkey, your ham, all of these lunch meats, they have nitrates in them. Nitrates are, so when we talk about nitrates, and it's a little teeny bit off topic, but it's not totally, because it still comes back to inflammation, okay? Be careful of these lunch meats. Unless you have literally cooked an organic chicken and decided to chop that up and slice it up and have sandwiches, you're fine. But if you're getting lunch meat out of the grocery store or someplace else, then you need to be careful, because most likely it has nitrates in it. Nitrates are our bodies, and it always comes back to what can our bodies literally break down and pass through. If it can't break it down, then it's actually being stored and it's turning into toxins. If we are now walking around with toxins in our bodies, we've added to the inflammation level, and we're now walking around with these toxins in our bodies. Sooner or later, it's going to come to the surface, and now it's going to turn into a symptom. So I'm saying this to say that when we talk about inflammation, when we talk about the foods that we really need to be mindful of how we're eating it. Then here's another big one: dairy. Dairy products are huge. Dairy products carry more of the hormones. Same thing as, so you think in terms of the cow. Let's go back to talking about the cow. We're talking about red meat. If cows are consuming high doses of antibiotics, high doses of hormones, and that's a big issue with dairy products. Dairy products are a key trigger to inflammation. Inflammation can show up in a number of ways. Your skin may break out. You may start to feel, it's not necessarily, acid reflux, but your body will start to react to the dairy because it's the hormone product inside of the dairy. So dairy is a huge, huge one. So one question that Lisa is having is, what detox would you recommend for inflammation? So here's the thing about detox. One of the things that I talk to about my clients, I don't send them directly into detox right away. Why? Because when your body is detoxing, you really have to get your body prepared for a detox. And so why I say that is because when you go through a detox, let's say for instance I was doing liver detox, which I've done before. Your body actually goes through a process where it's now trying, and it almost feels like you're getting sick. It feels like, literally you feel sick, because that's the purging that starts to happen in your body, because you're trying to get rid of and now purge your liver, okay? So with any detox, I don't recommend people do a detox right away. I recommend people try and change what they're eating first, because food has the ability to benefit you. Hey Patrice, Pastor Patrice, how are you? Welcome. Yeah, so foods have the ability to really help you do well or not. So when we're talking about inflammation, you have to think about the food choices that you're making so that it will be the optimal best for your body's response. And like I said, all of us are different. No one format fits two people the same. Your body's different from mine. However, inflammation, hey, Pastor Patrice, inflammation attacks us all the same way. And it comes from basically the same sources. So that's not going to change. And that's why we're talking about inflammation busting. I want you guys to get on top of what you're eating, the areas that, inflammation is coming in. And it's not necessarily just from the food. I know that food is key, and you can do it. If I can do just a basic smoothie, and I did that in the blender. Watermelon, organic watermelon. I bought a little one. Frozen pineapple, Pineapple is one of those things that doesn't necessarily have to be organic. It's better, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And some fresh garlic. I mean ginger, not garlic, ginger. I threw it in the blender. It is delicious. I just made a big picture because I'm going to be drinking that for the summer. And so when we talk about inflammation, we have to recognize that there are different things that really trigger inflammation in our body. And I'm talking specifically not so much about the topical inflammation, because when we talk about inflammation, inflammation is generally, I miss you too, we miss y'all. It's generally it's an inflammatory response which is natural to the body. So if you're injured, you ever hear about someone that has experienced like a brain injury, automatically their body starts to swell. Pastor Patrice said that she made, what did you make? Now you made a kale and pineapple smoothie today. Awesome! I am so, yes! Come on, Pastor Patrice, you go. Hi, Patricia Schofield, how are you? I'm so glad you made it. I was hoping that you would be able to come on. So yeah, when we talk about the choices that we're making in food, we really want to think in our minds: is this an inflammatory? Is this going to cause inflammation, or is it going to help to reduce it? The goal is to reduce the inflammation level. And here's the key thing that people don't always realize: is it can be a symptom. I'm not saying that it's definitely for everyone is different. However, 9 times out of 10, if you have joint problems, whether it's in your knees, shoulders, hips, back, hey Kathy, how are you? Anywhere in this area, and it has been going on for quite a while, it's most likely too much inflammation in your body. Here's another thing. Hey lady, hey Kathy. Here's another thing. I know we talk about stress, and I know, depending on what you're allowing your mind to really wander about, we're talking about inflammation today, guys, and all of this is related to inflammation and how we can reduce it and eliminate it. Stress in the workplace, stress in relationships, personal stress, psychological stress, we are in the midst of it. You have got to find an outlet in order to be able to meditate, to get away from it, and to tune it off. Because if you don't, this adds to the level of inflammation that is going to develop and be and cause in your body. So this is something that I want you to stay on top of. Secondhand smoke. I put this in the poll that I did yesterday, where I asked you guys, was this a cause? Absolutely, positively is. But not only that, chemicals and irritants. What are you cleaning your home with? These can be inflammation causes. I mean, if you're using like Clorox bleach, and I know everyone is concerned about doing things healthy, there are alternatives out there that will keep you not only sanitized, not only disinfected, but it'll keep you healthy. Because we can't be creating more problems on top of the problems that we see existing in terms of this pandemic. It just makes no sense. So, any other questions? You guys tell me what other questions. So, Lisa, I hope that helps you, help to answer, your question in terms of, different foods and the meats and the recommendation, for detox. I say start with your diet. Start with your diet. Food has the ability to heal you. Your body has the ability to heal itself. We just got to cut out all the junk, and things. And it doesn't mean that, you can't have it every once in a while. However, you have to be willing to, I tell my clients this, 80-20. 80% of the time, do what you know to do. The other 20%, I don't really want to know. But just know that your body's going to have a reaction to that. I mean, we all want something sweet sometimes. I mean, I'm not even going to get on sugar addiction. That's a whole nother live, which I will be doing soon, okay? And so, good, Lisa, you said you did. So, Pastor Patrice said that I just found a new cleaner I like too. Didn't know that caused inflammation. Yeah, I mean, cleaning products, and I get it, because I like my house clean. Now, that's just a personal, I can't go to sleep with dishes in the sink. I can't, these things bother me, and I like my home to smell good. So when we talk about cleaners, Clorox, ammonia. I mean, all of these, the majority of cleaners that are on the market, you have to think about in terms of what it's doing to your body. And you're talking about someone who has endured a cancer diagnosis. So I had to learn a lot of these things because I was the healthiest one in my family. I mean, honestly, didn't take medication every day, worked out every day for an hour. So bam, here now we got this diagnosis. And it's not like I question. I'm like, okay, well, it can happen to anyone. However, there were things, hey, Anthony Nolan, there were things that I was doing. I was a clean queen. My daughter would tell you, my house always smelled clean because I like my house to be clean. But what was I using? A lot of the contaminants and chemicals that are in our cleanings, they stay in your household. And, you know, if it's not summertime where you can kind of open up the windows, or even like the fall or the spring, you can open up the windows, get a little fresh air relatively. However, we have to be mindful that the chemicals that are in our cleaning supplies, it's not killing us quickly, but it is killing us slowly because we're inhaling all of this in, and it is detrimental to our health. So any other questions? And as you guys are thinking of your questions, I want to talk about another type of thing that can cause inflammation. Arthritis can actually cause inflammation because if your body is constantly inflamed, and we're talking about on a continual basis that you're not even aware of. I wasn't aware, but I'm pretty sure the inflammation had to be a cause. Now, there were times when I would have severe, like, hip issues. My hips just hurt all the time. Inflammation, it's inflammation. And so these are the things that we can work on. Pollution. And I'm not even going to get into chemtrails. So Pastor Patrice asked, what common foods cause inflammation? And this is something that I had gone over already, but I'll go through it really quickly because Lisa had asked this question. Refined sugars. Refined sugars is number one in my book. So when you think of your trans fats, your omega-6 fatty acids, these are your vegetable oils, your corn oils, anything to me outside of, and I'm going to tell you, healthy fats will cancel all of that. That's your avocados. That's your coconut oils. That's your avocado oils. That's your extra virgin olive oils. And make sure these are, definitely the olive oil. You got to be tricky with, and the coconut oil. But yeah, so these things cause inflammation. Casein, I had talked about. Casein is found in a lot of, sometimes your dairy products. It can be found in like your breads, your starchy type of foods, but casein is avoided. Gluten and wheat. Jerry had asked a question earlier about, wheat bread and, which was better, white or wheat. Gluten, our bodies cannot break down gluten. I don't care who tells you. If you hear it otherwise, tell them to prove how your body can break it down. It's a man-made substance. So when you think of terms of that, if something is man-made, how is your body going to know how to break it down? If you're eating GMO food that has been genetically modified, how is your body supposed to break that down? It can't. And so this is what you think of in terms of when you think of when you're going to put something in your body. If it's a watermelon, oh yeah, my body knows how to break that down. If it's a sweet potato, oh, my body knows how to break that down too. If it's wheat bread, there's probably only 1% wheat in it because it's so overprocessed. What is that going to do to my body? So these are the questions we can ask ourselves. Alcohol, refined grains is another one, and that falls under your wheats, your pastas, food additives. If we start talking about all the additives this is why I tell people you have got to read the labels. If you're not reading the labels and trying to find out what it is that you're about to put in your body, and here's the rule of thumb. If the first three ingredients, let's just say 5, because if it's more than 5 and you cannot pronounce them, you probably need to leave that on the shelf because your body can't break it down. And also, you got to do your homework because some things nowadays that are they have caught on to, all natural. They've caught on to, you know um, organic, and they're using these terms. Let's just say gluten, for instance. Gluten can come under a whole host of different names, and it may not say gluten. The additives that you see. Here's another one that I'm thinking of, like your coffee creamers. It's called carrageenan. Carrageenan is in a lot of these milk alternative substances, not nut milks. Nut milks are good, and that's another one we were talking about earlier with dairy. I can't say this enough. Dairy causes more problems because of the hormones and the antibiotics that they put into the cows. Cows are not being utilized the way that they were intended to be. They're not eating grass. They're eating corn, grain, and something quick, and mostly soy. Big red flag. If the animal's not eating what it was designed to eat, how in the world is that animal breaking it down? And now you're consuming that. We're still talking about inflammation, y'all. Inflammation is key, because when you know the level of inflammation, how you can reduce it, you just have to change some things in your diet, in your environment. Um, Heavy metals is another area that causes inflammation. And we'll probably be on here maybe about another 10 minutes. So you guys send me your questions, okay? Heavy metals. Hey, Monique, how are you? Thanks for joining. And guys, please don't forget to share. Heavy metals are found in, like, when you have fillings done in your teeth and they use the amalgam, and that's not the white, that's the silver. That's a heavy metal. And these things are left in our mouth, and they start to produce inflammation. Not to mention the lead that's coming into our body. Are there things that we can do about it? Absolutely, positively, yes. What I do, because I happen to have some, I mean, they were put in years and years ago, and the procedure in order to get them removed is, it's a certain type of dentist. It's very expensive. It can be done, but it has to be done in stages, and it's tricky. But in the meantime, chlorella, spirulina can help to combat the heavy metals which builds up in our body. Okay, it's called chlorella and spirulina. You can actually get it in like a little, comes in like a little tablet, and I take them every day. Heavy metals is another thing that causes inflammation in our body. And then you have just, the pollution. I mean, we live in Southeast, there's pollution. But you have to know how to also get rid of the pollution that's in your own home. And that's key, y'all. Because we don't realize the air inside of our home is much more worse than the air outside of our home. And it comes from, like we were saying before, Pastor Patrice, it comes from the things that we're using inside of our home. If you want to scent your home with essential oils. Get a diffuser. It actually helps to benefit your body. Get you some frankincense. I have some cloves. You see my little diffuser over there on the counter? Right there. Woo, turns different colors. Yep, that's my diffuser. I have one in here. I sleep with one on every night. And I'm always putting, you can not only put them in the diffuser, but every night before I go to bed, I always hold it in. I inhale frankincense essential oil. You will dream better. You will have a more spiritual acuity. And you will also, it also to help to, it goes to the cellular level, which essential oils do, especially when you use them topically, which I do that as well. We're still talking about inflammation, y'all, because all of this are things that you can do in order to not only eliminate or reduce, but eliminate the level of inflammation in your body. If you're sitting often and not moving around, exercise is key. You have got to be physically active in order to keep inflammation levels down. Now, I will say, your body will also tell you when you overdo it. When you overdo it, you'll feel like, let's say, for instance, in the lower back or in your knee. or in your hip, it's probably some inflammation because you've overdone it. Throw some ice on it, you'll be good. See what happens the next day. We're talking about inflammation. Trauma can cause inflammation in your body. Infections and fractures can cause inflammation in your body. Those are more, though, surface. What I'm talking about are the silent type of inflammation that can actually kill you. And this silent type of inflammation can lead to obesity, can lead to cancer, it can lead to heart disease. These are the ones that I'm really focused on, and a lot of that you can really change with your diet. So come on, you guys. So send in your questions. We got maybe about 7 minutes left. So Lisa's asking, are there supplements that can take to fight inflammation? There are that can help you. So one thing that I do recommend, and I will recommend this because I know that everyone is deficient in both of these supplements, and because we don't have, because our soil is stripped of all the trace minerals, there are a lot of things that we have no choice but to replace. Vitamin D3. You can get vitamin D3 with K, you're good. Everyone is vitamin D deficient, and this can also contribute. We're talking about inflammation still. When you take vitamin D3, it actually helps with your joints, your cartilage. And because we're vitamin D deficient, we have to be mindful of really bringing it up to a level. There are things that you can eat that will help you with, but you're not going to get as much as you really need to. Hi, Pastor Patricia Stanley. How are you, Pastor Stanley? So, but yeah, there are supplements. Vitamin D3, I would encourage every person take vitamin D3, and especially those that are black people, because we will never be able to get as much vitamin D3 as our body needs. I don't care how you can sit out in the sun for a year. You're not going to get as much vitamin D3 that your body needs in order to just maintain. Bless you too, Pastor Stanley. Good to see you. So vitamin D3 is the first one. The other one is iodine. Iodine is critical. And these, if you think about it, guys, these are trace minerals that were initially in the soil. Now, I don't care about telling my age. I am 50. I got to think, wait a minute, 56. Thank you. I am 56 and I'll be 57 in October. But when I was growing up, there still were trace minerals in the soil. Now, because we have not done to the soil or the earth like we should have done, it's depleted the soil. And so iodine was already in the soil. A lot of your magnesium, your selenium, all of these things were already in the soil. And so we have to now replace them. So I encourage you, if you get nothing else, in order to combat inflammation, we're busting it today, vitamin D3 and iodine. The site that I use, because I take both of them every day. Let me put it this way. 5 days a week, I do certain supplements, but I've gotten to a place where my diet actually comes in agreement, and I know vitamin D3 and iodine, nascent iodine. I get them from globalhealing.com. Globalhealing.com. This is the source that I use, that I get my vitamin D3 and nascent iodine. Why is iodine? Iodine specifically because we are iodine deficient. And I remember years ago, like I was saying before, when I was growing up, they actually put iodine in the salt. I mean, you could see it in the grocery store, and it was called Morton's iodized salt. Well, now it's actually considered like a natural food product. Seriously, because they took the iodine out. And the reason why they put the iodine in the first place is because in the 20s, there happened to, yes, thank you, Lisa, globalhealing.com. Because in the 20s, the country had gone through, the doctors were noticing that the people were iodine deficient. And so they started putting it in the salt in order for people to now get it back into their diet. And it worked phenomenally. Now everyone's iodine level is pretty much back to normal. So fast forward now into, let's just say, the probably early 80s. I think I was in high school, maybe. A little time after that, you didn't see Morton's iodine salt anymore. So what does that mean? If that was in the, that's almost 30 years ago. Now you've got a whole generation that has been iodine deficient. Iodine is critical for cell function. Iodine is critical to bust inflammation. Iodine is critical. So now you see a rise in like thyroid disease because our iodine actually helps with adrenal fatigue. Whole nother subject. So, globalhealing.com. That's where you get iodine and vitamin D3. And I'm encouraging you guys to do it today. Order vitamin D3 and nascent iodine. Monique has a question as to where to buy frankincense oil. The thing with frankincense, make sure that it is 100%. Do not go into Marshall's or Walmart, Walgreens, none of these little side stores. Go to a health food store or order it from a reputable site. I get mine from Sprouts. You can definitely get it at Sprouts, and I use the brand called Now, N-O-W. There are better brands. You have to do what's budget friendly for you, but just make sure that it is. And Now is a good brand. I mean, it's called N-O-W. They have a whole line of products. I actually use some of their apricot kernel seed oil, almond oil as well. Excuse me. And so, yeah, you have to get it and make sure it's 100%. Whatever essential oil that you use, even to put into your home, because there's a lot of garbage out there, and it can do more damage to your body than good. Make sense? All right. Any other questions? This has been great. I am so grateful to all of you guys for coming on. This has been fantastic. I thought it was going to be maybe 30 minutes, but if you guys have questions, I am open. I'll give it another maybe 2 or 3 minutes if you guys have any other questions. It is critical, like I said, to really be able to kick inflammation's butt. And trust me, I've done it. And I continually do it because I know that we're exposed in this, we can go outside and we're exposed to environmental things that are going to trigger inflammation in us. We can go to work or be in relationships or communicate, have a bad dialogue. All of this is contributing to inflammation level. So I try and stay on top of it because I know for me personally, no, I'm looking to reduce and eliminate it first and foremost. And I'm going to say something, excess weight, that's why we got to work out. We got to do something to get our cells moving. Right now, I'm actually sitting on my exercise ball. I sit on my exercise ball because I can keep moving. So Lisa had one more question. She said, can you repeat the oils? Okay, in the diffuser. Okay. So just start with these. Let's start with frankincense oil. You will pay probably a little more than $20 for maybe about a 2 ounce, but you only need a few drops. And I use it at night. Frankincense oil, I definitely recommend to everyone because the benefits of what frankincense oil does to the body is phenomenal. I mean, in every category. Frankincense oil has actually been known to kill cancer cells, kill cancer stem cells, my correction. Kill cancer stem cells. Kill cancer stem cells, okay? Reduce high blood pressure, help with diabetes. So these are frankincense oil, I would say, if you don't get any other oil, that would be not my number one. Lavender is number 2. Peppermint essential oil, number 3. I put a few drops of each one in my diffuser every night, and I have diffusers all over the house because I want that constantly in the air so that I'm breathing it in, and I actually do the inhaling at night as well. Maybe I'll try and do a live about essential oils. I mean, I could go on, the benefits. And these are all things that I had to learn and what I try and help my clients with that are cancer conquerors. Yes, okay? We don't have to live below our means. So any other questions? We got maybe 1 minute. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, guys, frankincense oil, lavender essential oil, peppermint essential oil. If you have a little headache coming on, which is probably stress related or something triggering in the atmosphere, it could be something that you're, you know, exposed to outside. A little bit of peppermint oil, inhale it. Also use a carrier oil, like coconut oil, and dab a little bit on wherever you feel a little bit of pain. Peppermint essential oil. Sound good? All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys, don't forget to share the broadcast. I would so appreciate it. This is Charlotte from J-Roth as well, and we, I hope, have busted and broke through on your new awareness about inflammation and how you can eat your way to much better health. Because guess what? Your body can heal itself. You just got to give it what it needs. This is another big one. Water. You see my big mason jar full of water? I drink water. Yes. And I had to get one this big because I wasn't drinking enough. And I have a reminder on my phone that said drink water because it's critical for you to stay hydrated. And you'll just notice when your inflammation level begins to reduce, and you'll notice that you are sleeping better. The frankincense oil will help. You are sleeping better. Your body doesn't feel as tight. The pain in your joints will disappear. So last question, Pastor Stanley asked him, what kind of water? So this actually is filtered water, but I also drink, stay away from tap water. I really hope that y'all know that. Do not drink tap water. It's got too much chlorine, too much fluoride. That's another video. I'm going to talk to y'all about water, okay? But this is actually filtered water but I also drink alkaline water. Just be sure an hour before or hour after you eat, don't drink any. Alkaline water actually helps to keep inflammation levels down. Now, I don't want y'all running out and buying a whole bunch of it because you have to really know how to drink alkaline water. It's excellent. It actually helps to bring your pH balance level to which is around, depending on who, it's usually between 7.2, I think, and 7.6 for a normal pH level. So, but yeah, this is actually just regular. Thank you. It's filtered water. I always do filtered. Spring water, that water y'all buying in Walmart, please don't buy that. Please, please, please don't buy the Walmart water. Please, don't buy it. If you have to invest in a filtration that you can just, hey tequila, we're getting ready to end, but hey, if you have to invest in like a little filtration one that you sit on your counter, please do that. Do not drink that stuff that comes in the 24 pack. I know I'm trying to get this to my mom too. Don't buy that. That water they probably got out the backwoods of somewhere. I don't know, but please don't drink that water. It's very important, the water that you're putting in your body, because this is what's hydrating your body, which is more than 3/4 fluid. So if you're putting in junk to hydrate it, filtered water. You can also drink distilled water. Distilled water actually has a natural inflammation. It actually has a natural alkalizing effect. Distilled water, okay? Filtered water. Spring water. Tequila's asking, what about spring water? Only certain companies that I will trust. If it's Deer Park, Poland Springs, all of these other things, no. I don't trust the source of where spring water is coming from, only because there's too many companies that claim to be spring water, and I know for certain, especially where you have to look at, okay, where are they sourcing that water from? If it says like, tequila, I don't know, someplace in Texas or something, I just stay away from spring water because there's no way to verify that they're actually getting it from a natural spring. Stick with filtered water. Distilled water is actually, oh, I drink distilled water. I use it to brush my teeth. I don't use tap water. Stop using the tap water to brush your teeth. I'm getting to a whole nother area. But I'm gonna come back and hopefully do some more lives. If you guys want it, post it in the comments. Stay connected, and I will do more lives for you guys because I want to see you guys healthy. Lisa, last thing Lisa says, my coworker says the same thing about water. Yeah, you don't get that water at Walmart and Sam's Club and Costco that's in the 24 pack, and it costs like $4. Filtered water, um, filtered water, distilled water, you can do alkaline water. I do a combination because I know your body needs more than just, I do a combination. I do drink a lot of mostly filtered water, but I still do a combination. I may do distilled water. If I'm feeling like, I just need to, stay on top of the inflammation. And a little bit of lemon. So there's things that, lemon is actually excellent to help alkalize your body as well. Yeah, okay, Pastor Stanley says she drinks alkaline water. Yep, just got to be careful that you're doing it in proportion. Do not drink it an hour before or an hour after you eat because you need the acid in your stomach to break down food. Capiche? All right. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining me today for this live. What was that? Oh, inflammation, inflammation busting information. So yeah, guys, just implement some of the things. You can go back and watch the replay and hear about everything that I talked about. And I'm telling you, I'm really cheering for you guys because if you can get on top of inflammation, trust and believe, a lot of things will start to fall into place. So just a quick recap. Go back and watch the things that I talked about in terms of food, environment, those causes. But also, I want you to, vitamin D3, mace and iodine. Lisa already put in where I get mine from, globalhealing.com. Frankincense essential oil, lavender essential oil, peppermint essential oil, 100%. And just start to implement those few things. And I'm telling you, you'll start to notice a difference, but give it a chance. And just start to attack some of the things in your diet. If you start to take out some of the things, and if you want to do it one at a time, no problem. I tell my clients baby steps. Because a lot of my clients are cancer conquerors. That's my niche, is to help them to really deal with the things that they're struggling with on a daily basis, whether it's inflammation, whether it's their mindset, because your mind and what you're thinking has an awful lot to do with things that are happening in your body as well. Whole nother live. Stay tuned. I'll do another live. But I mean, what you're thinking, one of the ways that I know for certain that I was able to conquer cancer is because I never owned it. I always called it the diagnosis. And I actually caught myself saying, why don't you never say that it's yours? Because it ain't mine. It's just what they said. I mean, so I never owned it. And it was my fault. I was like, my work is not finished, so I know I'm not going anywhere. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to have to walk through this journey. Okay? All right, you guys are the best. Thank you for staying with me. Please, please, please share, and I will be back to do another live very soon. So just make sure you follow. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube. J-Roth as well. J-Roth as well. J-Roth as well. J-Roth as well. All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys got some great information that you will start to implement today.